Good day, everyone. I am Philleppe Farañal from BS Cream 31C. Jail defined. Our institution for the confinement of persons who are awaiting final disposition of their criminal cases and also the service of those convicted and punished with shorter sentence, usually up to 3 years. Next is origin of jail. Jail is said to the originated in medieval England when King Henry II ordered that the sheriff in each of the institution spread through England in 1166. Originally convinced as a place for detaining suspected offenders until they could be tired, jails eventually came to serve the dual purposes of detention and also punishment. The concept of English jail was brought to the colony soon after the settlers arrived from the Old World. The jail was used to detain those awaiting trial and those awaiting punishment. The stack, pillory, and the whipping post being located nearby. In the start of the 19th century, children, debtors, slaves, mentally ill, and physically ill were usually sent to the institution both pre-trial and began to be housed in jail. Next is types of jail in general. Lockup is a security facility for the temporary detention of person held for investigation or waiting preliminary hearing. Ordinary jail houses both offender awaiting court action and those serving short sentences, usually up to 3 years. Workhouses, jail farm or camp houses, minimum custody offender serving short sentences with constructive work programs. Next is type of jail based on inmate population. Type A, with population of 100 inmates or more. Type B, with population of 21 to 90 inmates. Type C, with population of 20 inmates or less. Type of jail based on its jurisdiction. Next is municipal jail, city jail, district jail, and provincial jail. Next is Bureau of Jail Management and Penology. The Jail Bureau. The Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, also referred to as the Jail Bureau, was created pursuant to Section 60 under RA 6975 and initially consisting and uniformed officer and members of the Jail Management and Penology Services or service as constituted under PD 765. Next is brief origin of BJM. On January 2, 1991, the Bureau of Jail Management Penology was created through Republic Act 6975 as a line bureau under the Department of Interior and Local Government. The Jail Bureau is upgraded version of its forerunner. The Office of Jail Management and Penology is defunct Philippine Constabulary Integrated National Police or PCINP. Next is as mandated by RA 6975, the BJMP shall operate under the reorganized Department of the Interior and Local Government or DILG. Next is starting from scratch with 500 personnel in 1991, the BJMP weaned from its mother PCINP as a mere component to become a full-fledged bureau. Director Charles S. Mondihar took his oath of office on July 1 of 1991 as the first chief of the BJMP. The Bureau of Jail Management and Penology supervises and controls all district, cities, and municipal jail nationwide. Mission of the Bureau. The Jail Bureau shall direct, supervise, and control the administration and operation of all district, city, and municipal jail to effect a better system of management nationwide. Powers of the Jail Bureau. The Jail Bureau shall exercise supervision and control over all district, city, and municipal jail to ensure a secured, clean, sanitary, and equipped jail to the custody and safekeeping of the city and municipal prisoners. Excuse. Any fugitive from justice or person detained awaiting investigation or trial and or transfer the national penitentiary, and any violent, mentally ill person who endanger himself or the safety of others. Next is function of the Jail Bureau. Formulate policies and guidelines on the administration of all district and municipal jail nationwide. Next is formulate and formulate and implement policies for the programs and correction, rehabilitation, and treatment of offenders. Next is plan and program funds for the subsistence allowance for offender and conduct researches, develop and implement plans and program for the improvement of jail services throughout the country. Next is organization of BJMP under 6975. The Jail Bureau shall be headed by a chief who shall be assisted by a deputy chief. The Jail Bureau shall be composed of city and municipal jail, each headed by a city or municipal warden or jail warden, provided that in case of large cities, municipalities, a district jail with subordinate jail headed by a district jail warden may be established as necessary. Organization and key position of the BJMP under RA 9263. The BJMP shall be headed by a chief who shall be assisted by two deputy chief, one for administration and one for operation, all of whom shall be appointed by the President upon the recommendation of the Secretary of DILG from among the qualified officers with at least the rank of Senior Jail Superintendent. Excuse. Notes. In no case shall any officer who shall retire or to be retired within 6 months from his or her compulsory retirement age be appointed as Chief of Jail Bureau. Next is the Chief of Jail Bureau shall serve a tour of duty not to exceed 4 years. BJMP is under the Department Department of Interior and Local Government. General principle of jail management. It is obligation of jail authorities to confine inmates' safety and provide rehabilitative programs that will negate criminal tendencies and restore their positive values to make them productive and law-abiding citizen. Number 2, next is no procedure or system of correction shall deprive any inmate of hope for his ultimate return to the fold of the law and membership in society, unless provided otherwise. Any person accused of criminal offense shall be presumed innocent, and his right as a free citizen shall be respected except for indispensable restraint during his confinement in the interest of justice and public safety. Next is, inmates are human beings entitled to the same basic rights and privileges enjoyed by citizens in a free society, except that the exercise of this right are limited or controlled for security reasons. Note, under the recent ruling of the Comelec, detainees are allowed to exercise their right to vote. Health preservation and prompt treatment of illness or injury are basic right of every person confined in jail. It is the duty of the jail authorities to arrange their treatment subject to security measure. Next is, member of the custodian force shall set themselves as an example by performing the duties in accordance with the rules and shall respect the law duly constituted authorities. No jail personnel shall use abusive, insultive, and indecent language on inmates. No jail personnel shall use unnecessary force on inmates except legitimate self-defense or in case of attempted active passive physical resistance to lawful order. No penalty shall be imposed upon any inmate for violation of rules, regulation, unless in accordance with a duly approved disciplinary procedure. Penalty to be imposed not to be cruel, inhuman, or degrading. No physical punishment shall be employed as a correctional measure. Member of the custodial force must understand the inmate needs treatment and counseling, and the primary purpose of confinement is for safekeeping and rehabilitation. When conducting routine custodial in dormitory compound, guarding ratio is 1:7 or 1 guard for every 7 inmates shall be observed. When an inmate is in transit, the ratio is 1:1+1. Every inmate shall be observed. In case of high-risk inmates or inmate that demand extra precaution, additional guard shall be employed. This manning level shall be national in scope for effective jail administration in all regional, provincial, district, city, and municipal jail. Next is jail position and corresponding ranks. Position: municipal warden, rank under 6975, which is senior jail inspector. Rank under RA 9263, which is senior jail officer. City warden, senior jail inspector, chief jail inspector. District jail warden, which is chief jail inspector, jail superintendent. Provincial jail administration, jail superintendent, jail superintendent. Assistant Regional Director for Administration, rank under RA 9263, which is Jail Superintendent. Assistant Regional Director for Operation, Jail Superintendent. Regional Chief of Directorial Staff, Jail Superintendent. Regional Director of BJMP, at least Jail Superintendent. Directorate of National Headquarter Office, at least Jail Superintendent. Deputy Chief for Administration of the Jail Bureau, Chief Jail Superintendent. Deputy Chief for Operation of the Jail Bureau, Chief Jail Superintendent. Chief of the Directorial Staff of the Jail Bureau, Chief Jail Superintendent. Chief of the Jail Bureau, which is Jail Director for RA 9263 and 6975. Next is jail offices and operating units, function, duties, and responsibility. Office of the Warden. The Warden is responsible for direction, coordination, and control of the personnel, the inmates, and program of the institution. Under the Office of Warden are the following, which is number 1 is intelligence and investigation team collates and submits intelligence information to the warden on the matters pertaining to jail condition. Jail Inspectorate Section inspect the jail facilities and the personnel and prisoner detainees and submit report for deficiencies noted. Public Relation Office tasked with the maintenance of good public relation to obtain the necessary and adequate support of the public. Office of Assistant Warden. Office of the Assistant Warden. He undertakes the development of a systematic process of the treatment for his individual inmates and determine the degree of custody for such individual in his capacity as chairman of the classification board. He also automatically serves as chair of the disciplinary board. Next is number 1, classification board is tasked with the gathering and collating information and other data of every prisoner into a case study to determine the work assistant, type of supervision and degree of custody, and restriction under which an offender must live in jail. Live or live. Next is disciplinary board, hearing disciplinary cases involving violation of jail rules and regulation by the inmates. Administrative group, charge of all administrative function of the jail. Next is number 1, which is personnel management branch, task for the assignment of personnel, procedures of selection, preparation of personnel reports and individual record files. Number 2, records and statistic branch, keep and maintain booking sheet and arrest report, keep an orderly record of fingerprint and photographs, prepare and present statistical data inmates. Property and supply branch, take charge of the safekeeping of equipments and supply and material needed for the operation of the jail. Budget and finance branch, take charge of all financial matters such as budgeting, financing, accounting, and auditing. Mess service branch, prepare the daily menu, prepares and cook the food and serve it to the inmates. General Services branch, maintain and repair of jail facilities and equipment and also tasked with cleanliness beautification of the jail compound. Metimus Computing Branch receive court decision and compute the date of the completion of the service sentence of inmates. Note, Metimus is a warrant issued by a court by bearing its seal and signature the judge directing the jail or prison authorities to receive the convicted offender for service of his sentence imposed therein. Next is security group. Provide a system of sound custody, security, and control of inmates and their movement, and also responsible to enforce prison or jail discipline. Escort or Subpema platoon. Escort section produce inmates under proper guard and prosecutor's authority upon proper summon, transfer the prisoner to penal institution on proper order of the court and authority. Subpena section receive, distribute, and or serve subpenas, notice, order summon, and other court processes directed to inmates confined in jail. Security platoon responsible for proper system of security and control procedure of inmates in confinement in the searching of all personnel and visitor entering the jail compound to check and prevent the smuggling of contraband. Notes: contraband was commonly described in the past as any material that might be used for an escape or used to take advantage of other inmates, such item as much as money, pornographic picture, guns, drugs, and tools are generally considered as contraband. Any item can be placed on the list of contrabands if it is perceived as a threat to orderly operation of jail or prison. At present, contraband is described as any item found on the inmate or in his possession or in his dorm that is specifically authorized by the rules. Custodian section conduct regular custodian function over inmates. Admitting and releasing section, part of the security platoon, it is tasked with receiving a person committed by the jail and proper release of prisoners who have served prison sentence or are released on orders of competent courts or authority. Process of admitting person in jail. First is booking, second is identification, third is property receiving and safekeeping. Number 4 is briefing. Rehabilitation group provide services and assistance to prisoners and their families, enable them to solve their individual needs and problems arising from the prisoner confinement, correction, and rehabilitation. It's the primary interest of this group. Number 1 is medical and health services, provide medical and physical examination of inmates upon confinement, treatment of sick inmates. Also conduct psychiatric and psychological examination. Work and education therapy services, in charge of the job and educational program needed for rehabilitation of inmates by providing them job incentives so they can earn and provide support for their families while in jail. Socio-cultural services, it takes care of the social care of social casework. Study of individual prisoner may by making interview, home visit, and referral to community resources, free legal services, and liaison works for inmates. Chaplaincy services. It takes charge for the religious and moral upliftment of the inmates through religious services. This branch cater to all religious sects. Guidance counseling services responsible for the individual or and group counseling activities to help the lead a wholesome constructive life. That's all. Thank you.